For a third time over the last 4 years, the Miami Marlins have made it to the World Series. The only team standing in our way of our second championship of this series is the Texas Rangers. Today we have part 1 of the 2030 World Series as we get through games 1 through 4. It's been an interesting playoffs to say the least for our Miami Marlins, who have dealt with the ups and downs. We had the NLDS go a full 5 games against the Dodgers, and then in the last episode, the NLCS against the Cubs went a full 7 games. The road teams won the first 6 games of the series, with us finally breaking the streak in Game 7, leading us to the World Series here against the Texas Rangers. Well, of course, we will still be without the National League MVP, Brian De La Cruz, who got hurt in the second game of the postseason. His injury will not be good enough to return for the World Series, and thus we will not have him available. We've been able to win games without him, but his impact has dearly been missed, and we're going to continue to need some of these other guys to really step up offensively. As for the pitching, it's been a mixed bag. Robbie Jones has been inconsistent. The bullpen has had their fair shares of ups and downs, but guys like Casey Mize and the National League Rookie of the Year, Geronimo Gonzalez, have really stepped up, along with, of course, the 4-time Cy Young winner, Edward Cabrera. Let's take a look at the Rangers, who won 21 less games than us. They only won 87 and 75. Top wild card in the American League. They beat Baltimore in the first round, and they knocked off each of the top 2 seeds in the American League, Houston and Boston. The thing that's going to pop out with the Rangers' playoff run is the offense. Look at the series against the Orioles. They scored 10 runs and 18 runs. And look at the 2 pitchers they played in those games. Trevor Rogers and Yuri Perez. Where have I seen those 2 names before? Perez's start in particular was a disaster as he allowed 7 runs without recording a single out. Since then, the Rangers have been rock solid, going 7-3 in their last 10 games against the 2 best teams in the American League. They've got some fun young talent, such as Mako Valladolid and Luis Angel Acuna at the top of the order. Of course, their big splash this offseason was signing Justin Kramer to a 6-year contract, the generational talent in the first draft class of this series. And of course, he has been a fantastic player with Washington and now Texas. It's hard to believe that there was somebody drafted ahead of him until you realize that somebody was Ray Parsons, who's been one of the Rangers' best players this postseason. Of course, they signed Adley Rutschman a few years ago, and he's not the player he once was, but he's still one of the best catchers in the game. They still have Corey Seager, who's nearing the end of his long contract, and he really hasn't gotten that much worse. We're looking at a Hall of Fame career here with Corey Seager. They still have Nathaniel Lowe. They still have Josh Young. And you can argue none of the guys we've said have been their best players this postseason. Matt Vierling and Terrin Vavra have been unbelievable. Vavra in particular, who has 19 RBIs. Keep in mind the postseason record all-time is 23, which was set by, speak of the devil with the Rangers, Adolis Garcia. As for the pitching, some more familiar names here. Ray Castro is a first-rounder in Season 1 by Minnesota. He was on the Twins team that lost to us in the World Series 2 years ago. They've got Zach Gallen at the end of his 5-year deal. Not the player he once was, but is still a serviceable, experienced starter. And they've got youth with those guys. Steven Quisenberry, Geronimo Freitas, and Alfonso Bravo were 3 guys who we wanted to draft once upon a time. The bullpen is strong too, led by Andres Munoz, Alexis Diaz, and Jonathan Hernandez. Let's not waste any time and let's get this show on the road. Game 1 of the World Series between the Miami Marlins, who are back in the Fall Classic for a 3rd time in 4 years, looking for ring number 2 in the series, face off against the Texas Rangers. The Marlins are the favorite. We won 21 more games this year over Texas, but the Rangers have been arguably a little bit better throughout the playoffs. And of course, we are without our best player this year. Brian De La Cruz will not be available during the World Series. The Rangers have scored nearly 7 runs a game, 934 OPS as a team, 311 average. Our offense has been good, but not that good. We beat them in the pitching department, though. Our bullpen's been better, our rotation has been better, and of course, we have the 4-time consecutive Cy Young winner, Edward Cabrera, going to battle for us as we look to add to his Hall of Fame resume. We'll be going with a similar format that we have over the past few playoff series, and that's that we'll be simcasting the non-elimination games, and we'll be playing any big moments as I see fit. So game 1, for example, we're going to quick manage the whole game, but if there's a big at-bat or a big inning or something, we're going to play through it. Here is Edward Cabrera, who has started in 4 postseason games this year, and he has been, per usual, a rock star. This includes Game 5 of the NLDS against the Dodgers and Game 7 of the NLCS against the Chicago Cubs. All elimination game Eddie does in these big games is win. But he's got a tough Rangers lineup ahead, even without Terrin Vavra, who's banged up and likely won't return until later in the World Series. So let's get this game started. We'll see if the Rangers are able to set the tone. Short answer, yes. Mako Valladolid with a leadoff solo home run to put the Rangers on the board. Cabrera would retire the rest of the side, but a good start to the inning for the Rangers, who are going to be rocking with Ray Castro, who's been really good in the postseason as he walks James Wood to start the inning. We'll see if the Marlins can bring him in. Fielder's choice for Woody Landry. Isaac Stu strikes out. Into the second, Adley Rutschman with a walk. He advances to second, and the Rangers are unable to bring him in as we go bottom 2. Not much going for our offense. 1 walk, no hits. The Rangers only have 1 hit through 3, which was the home run by Valladolid. Finally, a base hit. It's a single for Khalil Watson, and James Wood sends a 2-run shot into the stands to put the Marlins on top 2-1. James Wood has been fantastic over this postseason, and he's carrying it over to the World Series. Cabrera still has not allowed a hit since the first inning, while our offense appears to be making some noise. Single for Stu, 2-run homer for Jesus Sanchez, and it's 4-1. Our offense is choosing the right time to hit these home runs. We're only doing it once we get base runners. How about we keep the offense going? Single for Kevin Alcantara. Melendez does not homer, though, but Jacob Berry drives him in off the double. It's 5-1. Khalil Watson brings him home with a single. It's 6-1. Watson 2 for 2 today as Jazz Chisholm singles. And we're going to hop into the game here. There's 2 runners on base. We're looking to get the Rangers out of their misery early, and it will not be against Ray Castro, who is yanked for the long reliever Cole Ragans, as he will get Woody Landry to ground this one over to second. And Luis Angel Acuna, the younger brother of Ronald Acuna Jr., makes the play for the Rangers. Acuna has not played at all this postseason, but he's had to slide over to second base with the recent injury of Terrin Vavra. And the Rangers aren't putting him at the bottom of the lineup either. They have him second. Into the 5th inning now. Cabrera still has not allowed a hit since the first inning, and I think I jinxed it. Solo home run for Nathaniel Lowe. It's now 6-2. Both of the Rangers' hits have gone over the fence, but still, the Marlins lead it as we go into the 6th inning. Same score, good inning for Cole Ragans as Valladolid starts the inning with a walk. Justin Kramer single. Okay, things are now starting to get interesting. 2 runners on base, 1 out. I think we're going to hop in here. We got to be conscious of Cabrera's energy. He did just pitch a Game 7 a few days ago as the former number 1 pick out of UCLA, Ray Parsons, flies this one into left. It's caught by Alcantara. Parsons, of course, was the very first player drafted in the entire series back in 2023 by the Pirates, 1 spot ahead of Justin Kramer. Adley Rutschman, speaking of former number 1 picks, goes down looking. 6 innings, 2 earned runs allowed by Cabrera. Another very good postseason start for really one of the best postseason pitchers ever at this point in Edward Cabrera. In every big game he's pitched, he's been dominant. Let's go bottom 6. Cole Ragans still in the game as the lefty has done a really good job since coming out of the bullpen, but it might not matter if our bullpen is able to hold this lead. Adolfo Jimenez will enter the game here in the 7th. He allows a leadoff walk to Corey Seager, who advances over to second base. Can the Rangers drive him in? They will not. Clutch pitching from Jimenez as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Woody Landry with a base hit. Can Isaac Stu do some damage? No, it's still 6-2 going into the 8th. We're going to bring in the back-end bullpen. That starts with Camilo Duvall, who allows a double to Acuna. Can Ray Parsons bring him home? He does not. Bottom 8. Ragans still in the game as he walks MJ Melendez. And Jacob Berry smashes a 2-run homer. That'll make it 8-2. Putting the icing on the cake if this game was not over already. Now into the 9th inning. We don't even need to bring Emmanuel Clase in the game. Andres Vina is going to come in as he allows a single, and a walk. So he loads the bases immediately. We don't want any funny business. We're going to bring Emmanuel Clase in, and we're actually going to hop into the game. I get that we're up by 6, but with the Rangers loading the bases to start the inning, you never know. Things could get weird. Josh Young checks his swing on the cutter. Umpire says he went around. That pitch was a strike anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Matt Vierling pops this one up over to second. Ariel Amador checked in earlier for Khalil Watson, who had a good game with 2 hits. And Amador comes down with that for out number 2. And the game comes down to Mako Valladolid, who had the leadoff homer earlier. Flies this one into left. Alcantara is under it. And the Miami Marlins win Game 1 of the World Series, and they do so in convincing fashion, beating the Texas Rangers by the score of 8-2. Really strong win for the Marlins. The offense was clicking. A few big home runs today from James Wood, Jesus Sanchez, and Jacob Berry. The pitching was great as well, and it's especially impressive against an offense who is hit for a .930 OPS in this postseason. The Rangers had the 2 home runs from Valladolid and Lowe, but other than that, they didn't get anything going. Ray Castro really struggled in those 3rd and 4th innings. Our offense wasn't really consistent, but we made plays in spurts. Berry drove in 3 runs. He had multiple hits. Wood was great. Sanchez was great. And the pitching was really good as well. Edward Cabrera had a phenomenal start, and the bullpen shut the door. They didn't really give us much issues other than Andres Vina, as we're going to hop into Game 2 now. Let's see if the Marlins can take a commanding 2-0 series lead. And obviously being up 2-0 isn't the end-all be-all. Look at the Cubs, who took 2 on the road in the NLCS, and then they would wind up losing 4 of 5. So we don't want to get ourselves too excited if we win this game, but we can really put ourselves in the driver's seat going into the 3 games at Globe Life Field. The Marlins will be rolling with Robbie Jones today on the mound, who of course finished in 2nd place for the Cy Young this year behind Edward Cabrera. But Robbie Jones has been really unimpressive throughout the postseason, and I feel like he's got a lot to prove today. This is really Jones's first time as a full-time starter in a long postseason run. So I feel like he has more to prove throughout this World Series than just about anybody, and this might be his only chance to prove it. Being that if this series ends up being short, or if it goes long, the Marlins might not even trust him enough to pitch in, say, a Game 6 or 7. So let's get this one started. No leadoff home run for the Lowy Deed. Justin Kramer draws a walk, but nothing more for the Rangers. Stephen Quisenberry is going to get the start, a former mid-round pick, a guy who we liked coming out of the draft a few years ago, who's turned into a good player with this Texas team as he allows a double to Isaac Stu. Can the Marlins drive him in? Jacob Berry with a single. Berry's been on fire as of recent. 1st and 3rd, 1 away. We're going to hop in. Kevin Alcantara is up for the Marlins, and he skies this one up into center. That could be enough room for a sacrifice fly as Justin Kramer comes down with it, and Isaac Stu's going to go. He may not be the fastest, so it's going to be a close play. Throw from Acuna is just barely not in time. Isaac Stu beats him out by inches. And the Marlins lead 1-0 off of a successful sacrifice by Kevin Alcantara. That'll bring up MJ Melendez, our World Series MVP from 2 years ago against the Twins. He's had a pretty quiet postseason, which is a surprise with how good he has been in the postseason since we traded for him. But he does get a base hit. 2 on, 2 away for the second baseman, Vidal Brujan, one of the many players who was not on the World Series winning team 2 years ago, as that one is caught. Brujan does have the World Series ring, keep in mind. He was on the Tampa Bay Rays team who beat us back in Season 5. He ends up flying out to left. Into the 3rd. Marlins lead 1-0 off the sacrifice from Alcantara as Josh Young reaches off of an error, and he is caught stealing second. Don't run on MJ Melendez, kids. Josh Young has to learn the hard way, and Robbie Jones is a no-hitter through 3. James Wood leadoff double. Jazz Chisholm scores him with a double. It's 2-0. And Jesus Sanchez brings him home off a single. It's 3-0. Berry with a single. He's 2 for 2. Another multi-hit game for him. And that brings up Kevin Alcantara. Again, the Marlins looking to put the Rangers out of their misery early as he gets jammed on the inside fastball. Kind of had to swing with it being 2-2. That's a good pitch by Quisenberry as he gets Alcantara to fly out. Marlins scored 2, though, with an RBI double by Chisholm and an RBI single by Sanchez. They lead at 3-0. Another 1-2-3 inning for Robbie Jones as we go to the bottom of the 4th. Much better inning from Quisenberry. He retires the side. But we got to talk about Robbie Jones, man. He's been dominant. 5 No-hit innings for the young righty as Isaac Stu gets a single, Jesus Sanchez gets a single, and that brings up Jacob Berry, who's been so unbelievably clutch throughout the postseason. If the Marlins hold on and win the World Series, I feel like as of now, he's the easy pick for postseason MVP, although he doesn't come up clutch here. He goes down looking on the outside fastball as we go into the 6th inning, and the no-hitter is dead. Josh Young with a leadoff single. Matt Vierling with a single in the very next at-bat. Young makes it to 3rd, and things get interesting. Runners on the corners, nobody out for Matko Valladolid, who goes down on the cutter. Big strikeout for Robbie Jones. Luis Angel Acuna draws a walk. Probably not the worst thing there, because it sets out a force out at all 3 bases. If this ball's on the ground, the inning could be over. It's Justin Kramer. Grounds it to second. Brujan to Jazz. Over to Landry. 4-6-3, inning-ending double play. 6 scoreless for Robbie Jones in his first ever World Series game. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, still 3-0. The Rangers make a pitching change. Not a great game from Stephen Quisenberry, but not awful either. He'll be replaced by Keegan Thompson, who's allowed 6 runs in 4 postseason innings. And I would imagine the Marlins are going to go to the bullpen as well. So I think it's going to be a bullpen day the rest of the way. Solo home run for MJ Melendez, and the Marlins add to their lead. It's 4-0. Into the game for Robbie Jones here in the 7th will be Joe Shearer, who's been so consistent for us, but he hasn't been all that great in the postseason. He does get Corey Seager to double up, and it remains 4-0 as Jazz Chisholm gets a walk. Woody Landry with a single, 1st and 3rd, 1 away. We're going to hop into this game now with 2 away as Jesus Sanchez flies out. They get bat for Jacob Berry. He's got 4 hits already in the World Series. How about another? Berry into the gap. 1 run scores. Will the Marlins get a second? No, because it's Isaac Stu and he's slow as hell. Nonetheless, it's an RBI double for Jacob Berry, and the Marlins lead 5-0. What did I say earlier about him being the postseason MVP? He has been at that level. Jonathan Hernandez comes out of the bullpen here for the Rangers. He'll face off against Kevin Alcantara, who's 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. As Alcantara puts this one on the ground, Lowe deflects it. Throw to first is in time, and the Rangers get out of the inning. Miami leaves to a board, but they drive in another run with the RBI double by Berry. It's a 5-0 lead going into the 8th, and the Marlins are pretty close to making this a 2-0 series lead going back to Texas. Joe Shearer still in the game. He allows a solo homer to Matt Vierling. That'll make it 5-1. The Rangers on the board. Bottom 8. Melendez reaches with a single. Vidal Brujan with a double. 2 runners on. Jazz walks, and, well, you know what that means. The bases are loaded. Woody Landry hits this one off of Hernandez's foot. Lowe goes to get the ball, so nobody's there to cover first. Woody's safe. Everybody's safe. Run scores, and it's now 6-1. That's how you do it, fellas. Jonathan Hernandez is a little bit banged up. It looks like he's going to stay in the game, but he has put himself in quite the pickle. Even if the Marlins are not the best team with the bases loaded, we'll see if the middle of the order can do some damage. Isaac Stu, full count. Remember, a walk would drive in a run, and that is not going to happen. That one was low, but in the zone, and Stu checks his swing on the circle change. Jesus Sanchez now, full count, 2 away, and Sanchez sends this one up the middle. Seager deflects it, and there will be no throw to first. Everybody's safe, run scores again, and it is now 7-1 Marlins. Hernandez is out of the game. He'll be replaced by Zach Little, who looks to get the Rangers out of this really bad position. Full count for Jacob Berry. He draws a walk that drives in another run. So when the bases were originally loaded, it was 5-1. The Marlins drove in all 3 of those guys on 3 separate plate appearances, and they did so with the ball never getting out of the infield. Alcantara up the middle, grounder to second, flip to Seager, and possibly for one last time, for good measure in this series, the Marlins leave the bases loaded. But we scored 3, though. So when the original bases were loaded, we got all those guys in, so it's not really a fail. The former Ranger, Taylor Hearn, is into the 9th. He's pitched with Texas over the last 3 years. As he walks, Acuna, Kramer flies out, Parsons flies out, Rutschman flies out. That'll do it. The Marlins win Game 2 of the World Series by the score of 8-1, and Miami takes a commanding 2-0 lead going back to Texas. Again, as we saw with the Cubs series, this series is not over. Teams can win 4 of 5, especially with the Rangers now having home field advantage with the next up to 3 games being at their place. But the Marlins have looked unbelievable in the World Series so far, outscoring the Rangers 16-3. The offense has been as steady as it gets, while the Rangers, who have been unbelievable at the plate, have gone for the most part silent. They had the home run by Vierling, but other than a few homers, the Rangers' offense has been widely disappointing over the first 2 games. Steven Quisenberry allowed a few runs early. Obviously, that 8th inning was really rough for the Rangers. Their bullpen was really not good at all for the most part. Our offense just kept stockpiling base runners. We only had the 1 homer by Melendez, but we had other guys play well. 3 hits, 2 RBIs for Sanchez. 3 hits, 2 RBIs for Berry. Robbie Jones took a no-hitter into the 6th with 6 scoreless, and the bullpen did a pretty good job to finish out the game. So after outscoring the Rangers 16-3 in the first 2 games of the World Series, we lead 2-0. But again, the Cubs outscored us 10-3 in the first 2 games of the NLCS. And guess what? They're watching in Cancun. That means nothing. The only thing that matters is we continue to win games, and that starts here with Game 3 at Texas. A couple veteran righties on the mound. Casey Mize for the Marlins. He'll go up against Zach Gallen for the Rangers. Now, if Texas goes down 3-0, then yes, I think it's time to hit the panic button, as they would be in a lot of trouble. The Marlins blew the Rangers out in the first 2 games of the World Series, and if the Marlins were not already the clear favorite, this is definitely their championship to lose. But baseball's a weird sport. The pitching rotation can get hot, and the Rangers' offense can get a few clutch hits. You never know, they could put themselves back into the game. Zach Gallen may not be the guy he once was after winning the Cy Young in Season 5 with one of the best individual pitching performances we've seen in this series. He's had an ERA in the 4s over the last 3 years, and that's carried over to the playoffs. But we'll see if he can put that to bed with a big start tonight as he retires to the side. We haven't used Casey Mize a lot in the postseason, but he's been really good in what could be his final start as a Marlin with his contract expiring at the end of the year. So far, no offense, no base runners for either team until now. Ray Parsons with a solo homer for the Rangers, and they lead for the first time since Game 1 when they had the leadoff home run by Valladolid. The Marlins get one right back. Solo shot for Kevin Alcantara, and we are tied at 1. Jazz Chisholm with a walk, and the Marlins bring him in. Isaac Stu single, 2-1, 2 away, big at bat for the first baseman, Woody Landry, who's hitting around .360 in the postseason. He hits this one high and deep and a right. At the track, at the wall. Valladolid comes down with it, and the Marlins leave 2 runners aboard. Even at the end of the series, pretty much, we're still leaving guys on base, just like we would have done in Season 1. Let's go bottom 3. Game still tied. Mize coming off allowing the home run in the last inning, looking to clean things up as he allows a base hit to Matt Vierling, his former Tiger teammate. But no further damage is done into the 4th. Jacob Berry with a solo homer, and it's 2-1 Miami. Screw postseason MVP. Jacob Berry's going for the World Series MVP right now as he continues to hit the cover off the ball with his second homer of the Fall Classic. Defensive substitution, that means the Rangers had an injury. It was the right fielder, Mako Valladolid, who ended up getting hurt as Jazz Chisholm rips a triple. That'll bring up Isaac Stu, looking to bring him in 90 feet away from home. Gallen still in the game as Stu skies this one high and deep into right. At the track, at the wall, it is caught by the new right fielder, Trevor Larnach. So Gallen gets the Rangers out of the inning as it remains 2-1. Texas has got to get something going soon, right? That's a good start for them. Corey Seager with a single. Josh Young with a single. 2 on, 1 away. We're going to hop in here. This is the Rangers' best opportunity to finally get some momentum in this series as Matt Vierling strikes out on the sinker. Big pitch by Casey Mize. Trevor Larnach grounds it to second. Khalil Watson makes the play. Errant throw to first, but Woody Landry is able to snag it while keeping his foot on the bag. And the Marlins hold on to their 2-1 lead as we move into the 6th inning. Let's see if Miami can look to potentially add to their lead as they try to take a 3-0 series lead, and that's a good start. Woody Landry hit by pitch. Cole Raggins into the game for Gallen after 5 1/3 as Berry drives him in with a triple. Berry now has multi-hit games in each of the first 3 games of the World Series. Alcantara with a walk. Runners on the corners, 2 away from Melendez, who hits it well into center. Kramer comes down with it, though, but the Marlins add another run. Jacob Berry continues to dominate with a postseason run for the ages. Driving in Woody Landry with a triple. Bottom 6, Casey Mize has been as steady as it gets, but I think we're going to take him out of the game. The pitch count was starting to get high. He was starting to allow a few hits in that last inning. Really strong game for Mize nonetheless. And again, what could be his final appearance as a Marlin with his contract up. Adolfo Jimenez in the game as Kramer is caught stealing off a walk. Don't run on MJ. What did we learn from the last game? Khalil Watson and Jazz Chisholm reach base to start the 7th. 2 on, nobody out. Let's try to end this game now. Isaac Stu flies this one into shallow right, and it's caught by Luis Angel Acuna. That's a really nice grab by the second baseman. 2 on, 1 away for Woody, a little lefty-on-lefty crime, and Landry puts this one on the ground. This could be 2. Low the throw to second, not in time. Seager over to first, not in time. A potential double play turns into a big ol' 0. The Marlins, oh my God, have loaded the bases again. I thought we've seen enough of the bases loaded as Jesus Sanchez strikes out on the circle change. Now, I will say, if there's one guy I want up right now, it's Jacob Berry with how good he's been all October, and he pops it up. Low is under it. He'll make the play. And again, this could be the last time in this series that we get to load the bases, so it's only fair, for old time's sake, that we don't score anybody. And now that I say that, we're going to have the bases loaded again in the next inning, aren't we? Andres Vina in the game for the Marlins as he allows a single to Corey Seager. Fielder's choice, Low's on base. And then the following batter flies out. It's 3-1 into the 8th. Cole Ragan still in as MJ Melendez rips a double. Can the Marlins bring him in? Peter Gillis is going to come in off the bench to pinch hit. Gillis is a really clutch hitter, and he hits lefties well. This is his opportunity to shine in his first World Series at bat. Rips a single into center. Melendez is going to go. Throw from Kramer is off the mark. An RBI single for Peter Gillis. And the Marlins add to their lead. It's 4-1. That'll bring up Jazz Chisholm now. Count is full. Gillis goes, and Jazz pops this one up to short. Corey Seager makes the play. Marlins add another run, though. They're in a good spot, leading this one by 3 as we go into the bottom of the 8th. We're going to play the rest of this game because, well, this is the most important part of the series so far. The Rangers got to get something going here fast, or else they could be in a lot of trouble. Matt Vierling against Camilo Doval. Flies out into right. It's caught by Jesus Sanchez for the first out. Trevor Larnach goes down looking on the sinker. Great pitch by Doval for out number 2. Now it's Acuna. Draws a walk. The Rangers get a base runner, and that's going to bring out their best player, Justin Kramer. And he does not come up big. Flies this one into right. Jesus Sanchez makes the play. And the Marlins get out of the inning unscathed. They hold on to their 3-run lead as we go into the 9th. Into the game for the Rangers out of the bullpen will be Jonathan Hernandez, who pitched in Game 2, and he was really bad. He's allowed 11 runs in 9 postseason innings. The Rangers are hoping that number does not go up. Isaac Stu checks his swing. Umpire says he went around on the low and inside slider for the first out. Woody Landry, full count, with a rocket over to second base. 106 off the bat, but Acuna makes a nice play. Acuna's been really good defensively. I've been impressed. He's made some wild plays. Jesus Sanchez grounded to third. Throw is made by Josh Young. And so with that, it's a 4-1 game going into the bottom of the 9th inning. 4, 5, 6 hitters due up for Texas. And it's Emmanuel Clase, who started his career with the Rangers, in for the save. People often forget that he was part of the Corey Kluber deal that sent Kluber from Cleveland to the Rangers as he strikes out Ray Parsons for the first out. That'll bring up Adley Rutschman, 3-2. Grounds it to second. Gillis looks to make the play. He does. And the Marlins are 1 out away from taking a 3-0 series lead here in the World Series. It comes down to Corey Seager, the 1-2. Swing and a miss on the fastball. And the Miami, why does it look like the dugout is made of moldy water? Okay, Texas, get your stuff together. Marlins win it 4-1, despite the fact that the dugout looks like it's just been flooded. And so Miami takes a 3-0 series lead, and they can win the World Series with a sweep in Game 4 against the Rangers coming up shortly. Another super strong pitching performance. The Rangers offense, again, who has been lights out through the entire postseason, lays another egg. 1 run, 5 hits. Our offense wasn't as good as it was over the first 2 games, but it didn't matter with how well we pitched. Jacob Berry with another masterclass, 2 for 4 with a homer and an RBI triple. Gillis and Alcantara also bringing in runs. Casey Mize was really good, 5 innings, 1 run ball. And then Jimenez, Vigna, Duvall, and Clase slam the door. It's just been a disaster for the Rangers offensively here in the World Series. And their offense is what has carried them through the entire postseason. But it looks like they're running out of gas. And they're going to need to get it together in Game 4. Otherwise, their season is over. And the Marlins could be back-to-back World Series champions. So with that, we've got an opportunity to win a championship right here. Geronimo Freitas on the mound against Geronimo Gonzalez. 2 guys who are pitching in their very first World Series games ever. I did a little bit of research and I was able to find out that there has never been a player with the first name Geronimo to ever appear in a World Series game, let alone been the starting pitcher. Well, today, both teams are trotting out guys named Geronimo, both of whom have a lot to play for very different reasons. For Geronimo Freitas, the young lefty looks to keep the Rangers' season alive. He was a player the Marlins wanted to draft, I think, back in Season 4. That was the year that we picked Andres Vigna in the first round, so I guess it ended up working out. And then for us, the cool Geronimo Gonzalez, looking to cap off one of the best rookie pitching seasons of the last decade. Geronimo Gonzalez would have been an all-star had he been in the rotation the whole first half of the year. He won the National League Rookie of the Year. He's been awesome in each of his first 2 postseason starts, and he's looking for one more to clinch his team a championship. There's your lineup, and there's the lefty, Geronimo Freitas. His first postseason start did not go quite as well as Gonzalez's had. Also keep in mind, since this is an elimination World Series game, we're obviously going to play the whole thing. So Jazz Chisholm is up here with 1 away, belts this one into center. That drops for a hit. And so the Marlins get an early base runner on here with 1 away. The offense has been very steady through the first 3 games. Let's hope that can continue here in Game 4. Jazz looking to go for second. The throw from Rutschman is in time. Gunning him down. The Marlins are going to be aggressive. They want to end the World Series tonight. And that time it backfires as Isaac Stu goes down looking on the slider, and Geronimo Freitas gets through the first as we go bottom 1. Taking a look at Geronimo Gonzalez, who's had an unbelievable season. I think he very well could be the next ace after Edward Cabrera of this staff. He's been so good in his first 2 postseason starts. We've given him kind of a short leash, though. Today, we're going to let him pitch as long as he can. Unless he performs poorly, which hopefully won't be the case, but being that it's his first World Series game is a very real possibility as he allows an early double to Justin Kramer. That'll bring up Ray Parsons, the 2-2, swinging a miss on the fastball. And the rookie, Gonzalez, gets through the first, allowing 1 hit, but nothing more as we go into the second. Lefty on lefty, Freitas against Sanchez. And Jesus Sanchez will win the battle as this one hops off the wall in the left center. That'll go for a double. And the Marlins got a runner in scoring position here with 2 away. We'll see if they can drive him in. That's going to bring up Kevin Alcantara, who's driven in a handful of runners here in the World Series, and he goes down looking on the fastball. So far, Freitas has been pretty impressive. He's allowed a couple base runners, but no real damage done. Adley Rutschman leads off the bottom of the second with a walk, and the Rangers open up the inning with a runner on. Corey Seager on the ground. This could be 2. Woody to Jazz. Back to Woody. 3-6-3 double play as 2 of the Rangers veterans are both retired. Nathaniel Lowe goes down looking on the slider. And so far, both of the young Geronimos in their very first World Series games, and the World Series debut for anyone named Geronimo, appears to be going pretty well. Peter Gillis strikes out. That'll bring up James Wood, another lefty on lefty, but Wood has mashed left-handed pitching all season long, and he's going to send this one into the corner and left. Oppo Popo, it goes for a double. Wood's contact against lefties this year, I think, has gone up by like 16 or something. That's just absolutely absurd. That speaks volumes to how good he has hit against lefties. As Jazz Chisholm sends this one in to right, it is caught, and that will wrap up the inning. Still no score through the middle of the third. The Marlins have gotten a hit in each of the first 3 innings, but they haven't been able to drive anybody in yet. Bottom 3, Terrin Vavra getting the start for the Rangers. He strikes out. Vavra has been the Rangers' best player in the postseason. He's missed the first 3 World Series games, and fittingly, the Rangers' offense falls apart. I don't know if it's a coincidence, so having him back is a big deal, even though he is 0 for 2 to start the day. Top 4, Isaac Stu puts this one on the ground. Going to be a tough play for Seager. Throw to first is in time. If only Isaac Stu was a little faster. Great throw by Corey Seager at short. Even though he's getting up there in age, he is still a highly productive player. Woody Landry swinging a miss on the changeup. Got to give Geronimo Freitas a lot of credit. He hasn't really pitched all that well at the big league level yet, but he's been great today. Here's Berry, who gets that one over the glove of Josh Young. It rolls to the wall and right, and Berry is in with a double, continuing his unbelievable postseason and his unbelievable World Series. That's 7 hits through 3.5 World Series games for Berry. Sanchez slaps the outside slider over to second. Acuna makes the play, and that's 4 scoreless for Geronimo Freitas, as this is still a scoreless ball game. Bottom 4, Acuna into center. That's a hit for the Rangers. I feel like the Marlins have hit the ball better today than Texas, but obviously not substantially, considering neither team has scored. Ray Parsons now grounds this one over to second. This could be 2. Gillis, Chisholm, Landry, double play, inning over. When the Rangers get guys on base, they've had a hard time keeping them on. As it remains scoreless into the 5th, Peter Gillis with a single into right. The Marlins have still gotten a hit in every inning today, and most of them have been with 2 outs, but they haven't been able to bring these guys in. Can James Wood, who got a hit in his last at-bat, look to change the streak? Keep in mind, Gillis is blazing fast, 94 speed as this ball is sent to short. Seager flips it over to second. That's 5 scoreless innings for Geronimo Freitas. His pitch count really is not all that high, and neither is Geronimo Gonzalez. Both of these guys have pitched really efficient and consistent games. Adley Rutschman draws a walk, though, to lead off the bottom of the 5th. That'll give the Rangers a base runner. That'll bring up Corey Seager. This one is put on the ground. Could it be another double play? 4, 6, 3. That's 3 double plays from the Rangers today. Talk about a lack of clutchness from the Texas offense. Nathaniel Lowe now on the ground. Woody Landry scoops it up, and he tags the base. 5 scoreless innings for Geronimo Gonzalez, who's averaging under 15 pitches an inning. Still no score as we move into the 6th. The battle of the Geronimos continues to be an absolute dogfight as Woody Landry, with 2 outs, singles into center. Common theme here. The first 2 batters are out, then the 3rd batter of the inning gets a hit, and then the 4th one is out. Oddly enough, though, the Rangers are not going to ride it out with Geronimo Freitas. He'll be replaced by Keegan Thompson, and I don't really get this decision by the Rangers. Even if you were going to take Freitas out of the game after the inning anyway, you're bringing in a righty right now, and Jesus Sanchez is second up after Jacob Berry, who's hit righties and lefties regardless, and sure enough, Berry singles into center. 4 multi-hit games in the World Series for Jacob Berry. This dude is an animal. And that'll bring up Jesus Sanchez with a big opportunity to finally put the Marlins on the board. Up the middle, Seager deflects it, and Sanchez is safe. He doesn't put the Marlins on the board, but a hit is a hit. Oh, Lord, look at this. The bases are loaded. I thought we weren't going to have to see this again. I thought wrong. It's Kevin Alcantara up for the Marlins, on the ground to second. Acuna fields it cleanly, makes the play, and the Marlins leave the bases loaded. I'm going to miss this series, but I will not miss that phrase that I've had to say a whole lot. Bottom 6, here is Matt Vierling with a 1-out single. Rangers get themselves a base runner. We'll see if they can look to potentially bring him in and finally put themselves on the board. Vierling looking for second, and he is not even close. What have we said about running on MJ Melendez? Don't do it. The Rangers haven't learned their lesson. He's thrown out 3 batters over the first 4 games of this World Series. Terrin Vavra now, count is even at 2-2. Fouls off a slider. Count is now full for Vavra, the Rangers' best player in this postseason, looking to wake up after an 0-2 start, and he doesn't. Swing and miss on the changeup. 6 scoreless for Geronimo Gonzalez. As we move into the 7th, no score here in Game 4 of the World Series. Will anybody score sooner rather than later? MJ Melendez leads things off for the Marlins, and it looks like he did not go around. That pitch was in the zone, but they call it a walk, and the Marlins get a bullet dodged from the umpire. Thank you, sir. That'll bring up Khalil Watson, who immediately puts it on the ground, and so the lucky call does not matter. 4-6-3 double play. Good job by the Rangers infield to turn 2. That'll bring up James Wood back to the top of the order, full count. And James Wood hits this ball well into right center. That ball's got some carry. That ball's gone! The scoreless drought is over. James Wood with a solo home run here in the top of the 7th. His 4th of the postseason, and the Miami Marlins lead it 1-0. Finally, we get some runs. It took a while, but it's James Wood who has stepped up throughout the entire year in the regular season. He breaks out, he gets the big contract extension, and in the postseason, we've needed guys to step up with Brian De La Cruz's injury, and he's been one of the guys who has elevated his game. Jazz Chisholm goes down looking, but still a very strong inning. Finally, some runs. Solo homer for James Wood as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Geronimo Gonzalez will stay in the game. The Marlins are going to ride it out with the rookie. He allows a single to Acuna to lead off the inning. He's getting close to 100 pitches. The Rangers are starting to hit the ball a little bit better, but the Marlins believe in this kid. Acuna looking for second. Kramer sends this one into the gap. Wood will not make the play. Acuna rounding third, heads home. It's going to be close. He's safe. An RBI double for Justin Kramer. The Rangers immediately clap back, tying this game at 1, and they have a runner in scoring position with nobody out. So with that, Geronimo Gonzalez is going to be taken out of the game. What a World Series debut for Gonzalez. What a rookie season. Even if the Marlins do lose this game and this series ends up going 6 or 7, that's probably it for Gonzalez's incredible rookie year. Camilo Duvall is going to come out of the bullpen to replace him. The Marlins trust Duvall, the multi-time All-Star, to get them out of this jam with nobody out. Parsons grounder to second. Good throw by Watson. Not a horrible at-bat, though, because Kramer advances to third. If this ball is put solidly in play by Adley Rutschman, then he should score. 1-2. Swing and a miss on the sinker. And that brings us here to the most important at-bat of the World Series, Corey Seager. We're going to show the entire at-bat as Seager fouls off a high fastball at 1-1 into the seats down the third base line. So Duvall now finds himself ahead 1-2, and Seager fouls another one off again down the third base line. Corey Seager's looking to protect, looking to keep the at-bat alive. Inside slider fouls him off again. Seager's continuing to look to keep the at-bat alive. 1-2 once more, fouls it down the first base line. Corey Seager's swinging at everything. He's not letting a pitch get by him. He's trying to make the big play, so because of that, Duvall's got to give him something out of the zone. Low sinker, fouls it off. We got to give him an even worse pitch here to truly test him. How about a cutter, basically in the dirt, and he fouls it off again. Corey Seager is swinging at everything. He is full-on hacking right now. This is Javier Baez type stuff. 1-2. Swing and a miss on the low sinker. Camilo Duvall outsmarted him. He recognized that Seager was swinging at literally everything. So because of that, he's going to give him a pitch that, well, Seager can't touch. The Rangers do clap back, though, here in the bottom of the 7th, tying the game at 1 as we move into the 8th. Zach Little is into the game for the Rangers against Isaac Stu. Up the middle, base hit. And the Marlins lead off the top of the 8th with a runner aboard. Big hit for Isaac Stu And again, the Marlins are going all out. They want to win this game. They want to win the World Series in regulation innings, and Stu will be replaced by pinch runner Esteury Ruiz. Woody Landry 1-2, swinging a miss on the fastball. Good pitch there by Little. That's going to bring us to Jacob Berry, who has a multi-hit game in all 4 World Series games this year. Pops it up into center. Kramer will not make the play, but Ruiz is out at second. He assumed the ball was going to be caught. Kramer does a pro-gamer move by letting the ball drop, getting Ruiz out at second to get a slower runner on base. 2 away now for Jesus Sanchez. It's high and deep and a left. It's off the tippy top of the wall. Berry looking to score. He is safe at home, and the Marlins lead it 2-1. Jesus Sanchez comes up big with his 3rd hit of the game. Throughout this entire franchise series, Jesus Sanchez stepping up in the playoffs has been a staple of his game, and he does it again in Game 4 of the World Series to put the Marlins back ahead. Alcantara now flies it into center. It looks like it's going to be tracked down by the right fielder, Vavra, who makes the play. Marlins regain the lead, though, with the double by Jesus Sanchez. We can't use the back-end bullpen of death because Camilo Doval just pitched in the last inning. But instead, it's going to be Adolfo Jimenez here in the 8th, and if all holds up, Emmanuel Clase for the 9th. We'll start with Nathaniel Lowe on the ground, base hit. And the Rangers start the bottom of the 8th with a base runner. There was no offense to speak of through the first 6 innings, and now both teams are getting guys on. They're driving guys in. We'll see if the Rangers can bring home Lowe. Liner to third, another double play. That's exactly what happens. Josh Young grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. That's the 4th time today the Rangers have been doubled up. Really nice scoop at third base there by Berry, who gets it to Watson, over to Landry to turn 2. Matt Veerley now for the Rangers draws a walk. So again, Texas gets another base runner. That'll bring us to the top of the order. Terrin Vavra's up. Again, we're going to show the hole at bat. 1-1. That pitch is just a little bit outside by a hair. Vavra has driven in 19 runs in the postseason. 2-1. On the ground and foul as the curveball is low and pretty much right in the zone. And now the count is evened up. 2-2. Runner on first. Winning run at the plate. And that's going to be an inside slider. Vavra holds. Count is full now for Terrin Vavra. Jimenez wants to give him a strike, but he doesn't want to give him something good. Vavra fouls off the 3-2 fastball into the seats near third base. Count still full. 3-2 for Vavra. Hit sharply into right. It's caught by Jesus Sanchez. And the Marlins now are 1 inning away from winning our 2nd World Series of the last 3 years. We just need 1 simple and easy inning to get the job done. Into the 9th, Jonathan Hernandez is in for the Rangers. Hernandez is a guy I've always liked throughout his career, but with how bad he's been this year in the postseason, I really don't see why the Rangers trust him all this much. Melendez to third. Young with a great play at the hot corner for the first out of the inning. Great scoop there by Josh Young for out number 1. That'll bring up Khalil Watson now. Checked into the game earlier. This one is sent over to second, and Acuna cannot make the play. An infield single for Watson, and the Marlins get a base runner. They may have the lead, but they're looking for more. That'll bring up James Wood, who had the homer earlier, draws a walk. I wouldn't want to throw to him either. I don't blame Jonathan Hernandez in the slightest. 2 runners on now for Jazz Chisholm, who's been solid today, 1 for 4. Good defense at short as he hits it well into left, and it will be caught. What a snag there by Ray Parsons. Watson makes it to third. I don't know why Young wasn't covering the bag. They could have maybe made a play there. And now there's 2 runners on for Esteury Ruiz, who came in for Isaac Stu earlier. The Marlins are going to go for the suicide squeeze, and it fails miserably. Watson's in a pickle, and he's tagged out. The Marlins were going to have Ruiz go for the bunt and have everybody run. And it backfires. Miami tries to pull off something crazy here in the top of the 9th, and it does not work. I will say, though, if that's the last at bat of the series, a failed suicide squeeze, that would objectively be hilarious. But we've got to make sure that that's the last at bat of the game. Clase's in for the save as he gets Acuna to swing and miss on the 1-1 cutter. We're going to pitch the whole inning here with Emmanuel Clase as Acuna fouls off the slider. After Acuna, Kramer, Parsons, Rutschman would be the next three up. Low fastball keeps the at-bat alive at 2-2. Pitch on its way from Clase. Swing and a miss on the cutter. There's one. The Marlins are 2 outs away from World Series Championship number 2 as Clase looks to get the save against his former team of nearly a decade ago. It's Justin Kramer, the superstar now, trying to show the Rangers why they signed him to that gigantic contract in the offseason. 1-2. Got him on the slider. There's 2. Miami needs one more out. It comes down to Ray Parsons, the very first player drafted in the entire series. Top pick out of UCLA by the Pirates, traded last year to the Rangers. He's behind 1-2. The Marlins down to the final strike as Parsons looks at the inside fastball to keep the at-bat and the season for the Rangers alive. Count is even up now at 2-2. Parsons grounder to third, and Berry misses it! Are you kidding? Jacob Berry had a chance to win the World Series, and he botched it! And just like that, the door has opened up for the Rangers. A single for Parsons, although that really should be an error. Jacob Berry's been the best player in baseball this month of October, but man, that's a brutally bad defensive miscue at third base. Tying run is aboard, winning run is at the plate. It's Adley Rutschman, the veteran catcher, who's been on some good teams in Baltimore and Texas looking for his first World Series. Check swing on the cutter. Rangers again down to their final strike. The count is even at 2-2. Can Emmanuel Clase end this one for good? Low cutter in the dirt. And now we're full 3-2. Big pitch from Clase. Looking to get him on the inside fastball, and he does not bite. The winning run is aboard for the Rangers. 2 on, 2 away, all because of a defensive blunder by Jacob Berry. And it's the veteran Corey Seager, another all-time postseason performer, up for the Rangers. 1-1. The inside slider doesn't bite. Remember when Seager was hacking earlier today? Clase remembers that. The 2-1 pitch. Fouls off the low cutter. And again, the Rangers are down to their final strike for a third straight at-bat. The 2-2 from Clase. And Seager fouls it back again, keeping the game and the series alive. Count remains 2-2. Clase, the former Ranger, pitch on its way. Grounder to second. This could do it. Watson charges. Throw to first. Is in time, and it's over! The Miami Marlins have won their second World Series championship of the last 3 years. Another title is headed to South Beach, and they do it by way of a sweep. As far as I'm aware, in the 6 consecutive seasons that we've made the postseason, I don't think we've ever swept anybody. And on the inverse, I don't think we've ever gotten swept. This is new territory for us as we win the series 4-0 against the Texas Rangers to win our second world championship here in the year 2030. Let's get some reactions of the team as we look at this incredible moment. Everybody hugging, rejoicing for many of these guys. 2-time champions. Kevin Alcantara in left. Talk about a guy stepping up as the 4th outfielder who had to be a full-time starter with the injury to De La Cruz. How about Jesus Sanchez, who had another ridiculous playoff run, drove in the game-winning run today with 3 hits, as Skip Shoemaker, the manager, holds up the World Series trophy loud and proud, and everybody poses for the photo. Some old faces from all the way back in episode 1 of this series, some familiar faces from our World Series title 2 years ago, and some new faces as well. Many of these guys winning their first World Series championships of their careers. What a game, a pitching duel that we win 2-1, despite the fact that we have 12 hits. We hit the ball really well. We just didn't do much with runners on base until the 8th inning. Wood, of course, had the huge homer in the 7th, and Sanchez drove in the winning run in the 8th. Geronimo Gonzalez, that kid is special, man. 6 innings of 1-run ball. Bullpen did a phenomenal job of slamming the door. The Rangers scored 5 runs in these 4 games. Their offense did not show up. Got to give the rookie Geronimo Freitas a ton of credit. He was electric. But the bullpen blew it for him. And that's how the Marlins win World Series number 2 of the series. We're not quite a dynasty yet. I feel like you got to get 3 or 4. But we're inching closer towards it, and I think this team's got the makeup to hopefully win some more. Nonetheless, an incredible season. By far the best season of the series in terms of team success, winning 108 games. Those first 2 series were a little bit close for comfort, but this one not so much as we get the sweep. At the beginning of the episode, I said there would be multiple parts to the World Series. Obviously, that's not true, considering we just swept them. Who won the playoff and World Series MVP? Both honors go to Jacob Berry. This is a no-brainer. Jacob Berry's been our best player through the entire postseason by far. He has been unbelievable through the entire month of October. And Berry's the great thing of what this series is all about. For the first 5 years of his career, he looked like a bust. I mean, he was an adequate Major League player, but he was nothing special, and he looked like a failed top prospect. However, he was always really good in the postseason. Over these last 2 years, though, he's been the full-time, everyday third baseman, and he's been really solid. 9 WAR over the last 2 years, and here he caps it off with a postseason MVP and a World Series MVP. Behind him in the postseason MVP leaderboard is Isaac Stu and Woody Landry. Both of them really deserved it. I feel like James Wood should have gotten second, though, and Jesus Sanchez probably should have gotten third. As for World Series MVP, again, no-brainer. Berry hit .563, multiple hits in all 4 games, 2 homers, nearly 2 RBIs per game. Our offense was really good in the World Series, and even in the other postseason series. When we needed offense, we got it, and we did it without Brian De La Cruz, our best offensive player. The pitching deserves a ton of credit. In this World Series against a red-hot Rangers offense, we had 4 great starts from Cabrera, Jones, Mize, and Gonzalez. The bullpen as well was also really good. So now that we've won 2 World Series championships, adding another trophy to the mantle, that poses the question, what's next for the Miami Marlins? And being that MLB The Show 24 comes out in pretty much a week and a half now, I think this is the right time to stop. Especially coming off the fact that we won a World Series. Even if we didn't win the World Series, this would have been the last season anyway, given that the new game is about to come out. Now, that doesn't mean the series itself is over, though. We've still got a long-term sim to get through. We've got to see if Edward Cabrera can continue his dominance as the best pitcher in baseball. Can Woody Landry, through his first 6 Major League seasons, continue the unbelievable trajectory he's on? Can Brian De La Cruz continue his mid-career renaissance into his age 34 season? How about Geronimo Gonzalez, coming off the Rookie of the Year and an incredible postseason run? Will he be able to keep it going? And for all these other guys as well, we got to figure out how their careers end up, see if they make the Hall of Fame, see how many more championships they can win, see how many milestones they can get, and that's going to be in the next episode, the series finale, the long-term sim. Normally with my long-term sims, I do 2 to 3 episodes, but I'm probably going to try to format it differently and quicker, because especially in MLB The Show, the previous long-term sims I did took ages to do. The players in this game, if you keep them under contract on the roster, they will literally play into their 50s. I don't have time to get through 30 Major League seasons into 2060, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. I haven't exactly figured out how I'm going to format it, but you guys are going to see that in the next episode, the series finale for the Miami Marlins franchise on MLB The Show 23, and then before you know it, in a week and a half, 24 is going to come out, and we're going to start our new series with a new team. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.